Hey, have you checked out evansperks.com yet? Since you're a student, you get access to over $22,000 in exclusive business tools and software discounts. If you want to redeem any of the 120 discounts, just go to Lecture 2 in your course and grab your secret code in the resource section. There should be a PDF titled Evans Perks Code.
Hey guys, welcome back to the course. So let's go over 7 reasons why you should start a web and/or mobile application business. Honestly, there's a lot of reasons why you should start a development business. I've picked the top 7, the 7 that have meant the most to me and have meant the most to everybody here at SprintKick. So some of the perks of starting a development business are pretty obvious, and some of them are not so much. So I'm going to cover a little bit of the obvious and a little bit of the not so obvious. All right, so let's start with number 1. So number 1, it's actually very, very rewarding work. Now, what do I mean? Being able to have someone come to you with an idea, hear their idea from scratch, and then to see that go all the way from that napkin on a table to something that you can actually see, play with, and then you start seeing people interact with, that is actually very redeeming. You feel like a creator. People who are entrepreneurs have always had a horrible problem with this. We always think of ideas, and how many of your ideas have you actually seen go all the way through the process and get to the point where it's actually out in the market? Not enough. I'd say for me, probably 1 in 1,000. That's just how I work. But when you run a web or mobile application development studio, you get to see all these ideas come in the door, and when they come out the door, they're real, they're live, and they're walking. You get to really put your finger on the pulse of what's popular, what's hot, what's not, what flies and what dies. You get to stay up to date with all sorts of breaking things in the web and in the mobile development world. You get to see what's working, what's new, what's out the door, what's old news. If you're someone who loves tech, it's just a very, very engaging and fun way to make money. Now, number 2, a little bit less obvious. The bulk of money in any web or mobile project is in its development. Now, what do I mean by that? Every web, online product, or mobile application product has multiple sections to it. Typically, you start with a conception stage, then you move to a design phase, then a development, and then a launch. Now, conception and launch, those are 2 things that are typically handled in-house by your client. But design and development are the 2 that are most frequently outsourced or contracted out. Now, within those 4 phases, the bulk of the money goes to design and development. Again, like I said, the other 2 are handled internally, so every different company handles that in some different way. Some of them skip those processes entirely. Now, within design and development, typically the vast majority of that work, that's going to be in development, not in design. Now, design really can run the gamut. If you're designing something that's really small, it could cost you $500. Maybe you're designing something that's big and you need branding with it. In that case, that could cost you a couple $1,000s. Maybe a big fancy studio might charge you $5,000 plus. But with a development project, it is not very unrealistic to have a project that's well over $5,000. Now, when you design something for $500, the development side of that could easily be a $10,000 project. Let's take for an example. Let's say we're building a mobile application and we need to have it branded and we need to have it completely designed and then developed from concept all the way to deployment. Now, the design and the branding and the logo and the launch icon, that could cost $5,000. The development could cost anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000. If I had a $100,000 project, it would probably cut down the line around 85% of it goes to development and about 15% of it goes to design. So developers and the development side, we get the bulk of the money. That's where the real opportunity to make a lot of money and to scale is. Number 3, and this is something a lot of people don't realize, margins in web and mobile development are rocking. They're amazing. Typical product businesses out there could have margins in 10 to 20%. A lot of retail items have margins that are as low as 5%. An airline typically has a margin anywhere from 2% to 4%. A custom web or mobile development project, the margins can be as low as 25% and as high as 70%. Now, I obviously am not going to tell you exactly what our margins here at SprintKick, but when we first started out, they were literally 50-50. Now they're a little bit different, but they're healthy margins. Now, if you're someone who's coming at this and you're non-technical, you're going to be subcontracting primarily. When you subcontract, your margins are clear and simple, and they usually fit within that 25 to 70% range. If you're developing it yourself, well, it's hard to think of margins, but what ends up happening is you can pay yourself a fantastic wage that you never would have gotten if it was just you freelancing on your own. The best part about doing this as a developer, it's like you can magically double yourself. All of a sudden, if you make $50 an hour, you start taking a larger project, have someone work next to you and then someone work next to that person. It's all of a sudden you've multiplied yourself. And like if you multiplied yourself, you are gonna get a lot more done and you're also gonna make a lot more money. Number 4, you've set yourself up for startup success in the future. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, think about it. You have spent all this time putting together a well-oiled, slick, professional team to make awesome web mobile projects, right? You go through trials and tribulations, you work with different freelancers, you figure out who's good at what, you piece them together, you create an awesome system and an awesome product. Now, when you have an idea, all you have to do is flip the switch and point that system at whatever it is you're trying to build. Regular founders, they take months to find the right people, and it could potentially take years to figure out who fits in their organization, who doesn't, what is everybody good at, what are we capable of building. You, as someone who runs a development business, you have that pretty much from day one whenever you want to start on your own thing. Think of it like a factory. You are producing product after product after product, and it's getting better and better and better. All you have to do is decide that the next one coming off the production line is yours. Great example of this, 37 Signals, company out of Chicago, started as a web development studio. They created Basecamp as a project to solve a problem they had internally. Then they created some other ones like Campfire and Highrise. Now they're $1 billion product company. Number 5, you're gonna get exposure to a wide variety of online disciplines. Disciplines that is very hard and take years and years to get experience with. You're gonna learn project management, you're gonna learn client management, you're gonna learn sales management. You're gonna learn how to manage accounts. You're gonna learn how to hire, how to fire, how to vet people, how to recruit them, how to figure out who's good and who's not. You're gonna develop basic skills in product management and UX, user experience. You are, after all, in charge of making a successful product. That successful product involves understanding user experience, understanding the product, managing it, managing its feature set. These are all very, very in-demand skills. Skills that if this doesn't work out for you, you can go and pick up a job in any of them. You're gonna learn how to go out and get your own sales. You're gonna learn how to prospect clients. You're gonna learn how to get the good clients and how to keep them. You're gonna learn the basics of account management. You're gonna get a wide variety of exposure to different technologies. You're really gonna understand your craft. At the end of this, even if you're not a developer, you're gonna talk like a developer. You're gonna be able to actually communicate with your development team. You know what works and what doesn't work. You know you're in a perfect situation to assess what's hot, what's not. So how else would you possibly get experience in all of these realms? I can't think of really anywhere else you could do this. Number 6, the opportunity to set it and forget it. So for those of you out there that are looking for a passive income source, actually web development, mobile development, it's actually a great opportunity. Now, you probably think to yourself, what do you mean? Aren't you constantly busy bringing in new clients, managing them, managing projects? Well, not actually. If you wanted this to be a passive income source, you would just work on getting a couple good clients and then making sure that you have your process down and you continue to work with them and retain them. If that's the case and you work with agile methodologies, which we'll cover later in the course, you're gonna be literally checking in on your projects every 2 weeks when you get paid. So that's it. You have 2 clients, 3 clients, 4 clients. That means you have 4 meetings every other Friday. The rest of the time, the other 2 weeks, you do whatever you want. I used to run SprintKick living in India, then living in Thailand, then traveling all over the world. Number 7, and I think honestly this is one of the best reasons because it's the most immediate. It's something that can help you today. For those of you out there that are freelancers, people out there who run a consulting business, people who do marketing for their own clients, if you do design for your own clients, maybe you run an SEO outfit. Imagine the power of being able to say to your clients that you've already gone through the hard work of getting, hey, guess what? I can also do the development for you. Now remember, development is the bulk of the money. Now we're also going to cover later in the course reasons why clients stick with you. And one of the biggest reasons why they'll stick with you is because you can take care of all their needs. Now all of a sudden you're one step farther to being full service. You can say, not only can I design it, I can also develop it. Now, if you're not a developer, don't worry. We're going to cover this from the non-technical perspective as well as the technical perspective. I'm going to show you how you can contract it out and build a really good team to do this, even if you can't program. So this is one of the best self-employment, small business consulting hacks I've ever seen. I've seen SEO outfits or designers that go from making, $3,000 a month with a client set, go to making $10,000, $15,000 a month with the same exact client set. They're not even doing anything. They're not creating new relationships. They're not even doing sales. They're just offering another service. Okay, guys, if 7 reasons wasn't enough, you're just gonna have to watch the rest of the course and come up with your own reasons. I'm excited to teach this course, so let's get into it. I'll see you in the next lecture.